This video is brought to you by Nezu Clothing. More on that at the end of the video. January 1st, 1987 marks the very day that one of the biggest series in all of fiction was released, spanning 8 different manga parts, an OVA, a film, a series, a live action film, multiple games, light novels, one-shots, collaborations, you name it. But why? Why did this show, this manga, this series become so popular, so beloved by so many people? Why bother questioning it when we can try and find the answer? So join the Maple Shamrock crew, Zenadean, JaggerN0 and Xadmeister, while we look at Hirohiko Araki's magnum opus, Jojo's Bizarre Adventure. Chapter 1, Phantom Blood. Hello everybody, welcome to the Maple Shamrock. We are your hosts, JaggerN0, Zenadean and Xadmeister. If you just want to let the people know who you are and why you're
here. Why I'm here? I don't know, because I'm here the last few times.
But this is an AA meeting now. We've been drinking at the Maple Shamrock too much.
Don't worry, I just blended popcorn as my drink of the night.
Oh, nice.
I myself have, my voice is kind of low and sultry. I've been drinking rum and Crystal Pepsi, apparently. Makes my voice go all deeper.
You don't drink alcohol.
And I myself have been drinking...
And this is why.
And I myself have been drinking battery acid. It's actually quite tangy. It's kind of like Fanta, but painful.
But painful. Yeah, it has a nice little lemon flavor to it if you squint hard enough.
It's only AA though. Like AAA is lime, and I'm like, I'd rather lemon. Anyways, as you might have known by that little intro that we haven't recorded yet, or I haven't recorded yet, or whatever, we're reviewing JoJo's. Well, we're having a retrospective on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1, Phantom Blood. Myself, this is my first time reading the manga after watching the show a while back.
My first time watching the show.
And my first time going through the dub. Hoy.
So this is an epic
adventure too, man.
Yes, you and I have very different opinions on JoJo dubs, I'm pretty sure, though. Particularly.
Well, I have certain opinions too, but we don't reach that until Part 3 for me personally.
Oh, boy.
well, before I say some things aside.
Okay, so how does...
You could have played the PS2 game, man.
There was a... Oh, yeah.
I've seen the screenshots of that, and that's some special stuff.
Okay.
Funny enough, before we get too deep into this, Part 1 is probably one of the most adapted parts. It has a movie that is lost to time. It has an anime, some original manga, and a video game.
And sadly, it gets the least amount of love.
It does.
So, starting things out, the manga and the anime already
Thoughts
a big
are completely different.
Absolutely.
So,
but, the very beginning of the manga does not even happen in the anime, which baffles me.
Yeah, basically how the manga starts is in 12 to 16 BC. In the center of Mexico, there is there's what's it called? Not a village, but a society where they have
an Aztec ritual.
Yeah, they're in the middle of an Aztec ritual where this is where we first see the mask way before in the anime. And it just shows off basically what it does. It makes people like cannibalistic and stuff. It's a nice little bit of background lore, which I think kicks off the show better than what it does in the anime.
Well, the anime starts off right at the chaos class, and we don't know what's even going on. It just kind of throws us in there. It's like, a chaos class, people are dead, a mask has pointy things on the back.
Also, in the manga, it doesn't even go straight to the carriage crash from the Aztec. You actually see Dario Brando, and our main character, the main villain, Dio Brando. Dario is telling him about the carriage crash, so we don't even see any of the Joestars yet.
The fun fact about the manga back in the day, it honestly felt like they were doing two different stories at the same time. They're telling the Dio story and the Jonathan story as if they were co-main characters for the first half of the book. It really felt like that.
Which is kind of weird, because if you look at what the anime does, we get scenes of Dio, but it kind of seems thrown in like an afterthought. We see Dio. We see a few shots of Dio growing up, and of course Dio, like, using the mask, but we don't actually really see a whole lot of it.
I don't think we really. One thing I noticed with the anime, like, it's only 9 episodes, so things go super fast. It's like they cross over Dio's inner character. And I'll get more into this when he starts testing out the mask, but we don't really get into Dio's mind that much other than, I want to break this guy. We don't know why he wants to. We don't know. We just get this little thing of, I am going to break him and make him suffer.
Yeah.
I mean,
like,
no, go on ahead.
Well, we see that Dario Brando is a bastard. We know that. But, that's about all. We don't really see why Dio is doing this. It's like, well, if you wanted to get away from your dad, you've succeeded, bud. So what more do you want?
And that's one thing that always confused me about Dio is he's already pretty much part of the family. He gets the riches and the benefits in the class. Why does he need anything other than this? Like, why does he start doing the things he do?
Shits and gigs.
Essentially.
In the manga, it's like, oh, you want me to become the richest man? All right, fuck you. I'm gonna rob all of their stuff, and I'm gonna spit in your grave. And then he does spit in his grave. But even still, I don't think it's much more of a justification than what's in the... I feel like that's one of the weaker parts of this part in general.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like he has one.
We just see him really go from abused dude growing up in the slums to suddenly I'm evil. I'm the spawn of Satan, so I'm just gonna fucking act like it.
And the anime really emphasized that. Like, very first scene we really get of him is kicking dog.
Danny, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really the first scene we get.
Exactly.
And let's go into the whole Danny situation, because a lot with Danny changed from the manga to the anime.
Oh gosh, I couldn't believe how freaking toned down that was too, in comparison. Yeah. But I mean,
because the manga, I feel, had like a whole chapter dedicated to Danny.
Oh, it did. First, it started off with the backstory of how Danny and Jonathan met, and how Jonathan was being a bit of a dick to Danny, and because I think he was scared of him. And then when he started drowning, Danny came in, despite the fact that Jojo wasn't nice to him. So he pulls him out. And then by then, just kind of Jonathan chills with the dog, so you kind of get that bit more of an emotional attachment to Danny through the manga. And you can understand...
In the anime, there was no emotional attachment. It's like, there's this dog, he gets kicked, and then he gets set on fire. By dog.
Yeah. And that's a common theme in this show. Araki doesn't like dogs, or he likes dogs too much.
Oh no, he loves dogs. He wants to prove that somebody's evil by holding dogs.
Which certainly, yeah.
I think he's the real evil one here.
Man, I hate seeing dogs die in general. So
and
like,
he has to have at least like 2.
Don't go to Elfin Lead.
Nope. No. No.
Sorry, my bad. God, that so scarred me.
Yeah, I think that's the second thing he does is kill Danny. The first thing he does is that, like, when he drops in the bags and he just like leaves them down, and Jonathan's like, "Oh, I'll help you with those."
Dio, and he like goes in and like reaches for the bag, and then like Dio just like elbows him in the face and just like rubs it in.
Mm-hmm.
Dio's such a dick.
It's like, don't touch my bags. Why not?
Yeah.
Like,
And in the anime, Diego stuff, Patrick Seitz' voice just really gave that across so well.
Oh
As
yeah, he
being
did.
Complete dickbag.
yeah, and in the Japanese, it's like just as good, if not.
Oh yeah. Hey, I don't think we really have to justify the Japanese version, because the Japanese version, I have heard the clips and stuff. We know it's the ham we always wanted.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
He's like the perfect voice for Dio. He's one of the best casting choices in all of fiction ever.
And you know, that particular voice actor too has gained a reputation from being Dio. If anybody actually hears his voice in any other anime, they're like, holy shit, it's Dio. Shirogane's father in Kaguya-sama is actually Dio. Everything makes sense.
which is so weird because he was Aokiji in One Piece as well before then, and he was Bobo.
That's right. It was like you'd think of all things like. Well, then again, actually, that makes a hell of a lot of sense. Dio works with ice. Aokiji.
Oh god, fuck. Fucking fuck.
I can do this since I'm slightly.
I mean, Patrick Seitz is like. I mean, Patrick Seitz is a good voice actor too.
Oh,
like,
hell
he
yeah.
Played,
He plays Frankie.
and he plays,
If I remember, wasn't Seitz walking out of Project as well from Blade Blue?
what?
I don't know
Just a
Blaze
second.
Blue that much, but
He was also Jiren in Dragon Ball Super. And might I say he played him very well.
you know
'cause I
what's
feel like
also you know what's also interesting? Patrick Seitz also, interestingly enough, voices Dracula from Castlevania in Smash Ultimate.
oh my god, really?
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
legitimate.
That was,
Dude,
is that a
Patrick
JoJo reference?
Yes. Like
By the way, yes. Wagner Buzzard, yes.
good guy. Wow.
Oh my god, here's Compatsi from Fleets.
Kempachi, really? Holy
My
shit.
waifu from Fleets, here's my waifu. Don't judge me.
Getting back to the thing, I also want to say
Because-
that there was following that very scene, there was a scene where they were at dinner, and Jonathan. I keep wanting to call him Jojo because I always call Jonathan Jojo, and sometimes Joseph Jojo as well. But that's it.
Well, you know,
But,
those are the ones to be called. They're actually called JoJo in the actual thing. Nobody else really
I know.
I
does.
honestly think
so.
we should just go with Jonathan, just so when we go to other parts, we are not confusing people.
Oh yeah, I know. I might call him John from time to time, but
yeah. John
so-
also works.
Jonathan, he's like eating his dinner all sloppily and stuff. Which I'm surprised by, considering he wants to be a gentleman so bad. And then Dio is like, he's eating his dinner mannerly, and for some reason that's also considered a really bad thing from Dio. When I think that's 100% justifiably Jonathan's fault.
Yeah, that was one of the real things that they're trying to make Dio look bad on. Well,
You're just eating his dinner.
Mhm.
Like,
really, Jonathan was just being a slob. That
And,
was on him.
But the thing is, there's a scene afterwards that they took out of the anime in the manga where
Oh, which one was that?
it's when George is Jonathan's father. George sends Jonathan up to his room, and usually they just cut it there and move on to the next scene. But in the manga, like, you actually see Jonathan in his room, and he's already questioning about Dio, and then he's like, you actually see a drawing of Jonathan's mother, which I don't think you see at all in the anime.
You
Yeah.
see
And
it when the whole house is burning down, and that's it.
And then randomly he just gets excited for a piece of chocolate. I know it's very small, but like it's one of those few character moments that I feel like Jonathan really needed, and that kind of made me like not like him as much in the anime. Like after reading the manga, I like Jonathan a lot more.
I also
Yeah.
felt like the whole anime really reduced part 1 almost too much.
Mm.
Well, I think the reason being they kind of clammed part 1 and 2 together in order to just get to the frickin' stands. And yet, at the same time, like, with having roommates who only watch the anime, and both of them both said that part 1 was their favorite. I'm quite blown away by that, actually.
I guess that just shows how. I mean, that's not the like. I know a few people who say part 1 is their favorite, but they usually only watch part 1 and 2 and then stop.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
They just don't like how bizarre part 2 was. So I'm like, okay, I get you. I understand what kind of person you are.
Well, let me put it this way, because I'm actually on the wiki right now. Episode 1 is the first 5 chapters.
Mhm.
Episode 2 is the next 5. And then they slow down after that. But I honestly believe part 1 would benefit if it had like an episode or 2 more.
I'd say so, yeah.
Yeah, for the start, because a lot of complaints I know a lot of people have, it's like everyone likes the start, and then they like the end, and then the middle drags a bit, and I feel like the start was too shortened. Like even if they didn't, even if they're like, okay, we need to get to part 3 as fast as possible, we can only give part 1 9 episodes. I feel like they should have.
Which is kind of
spaced it.
hilarious considering how much time they dedicated to part 3 over
And
all of the
everyone-
other JoJo parts.
And everyone complains about how long it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just ironic.
I do truly believe an extra episode would have done wonders for this. So,
Definitely.
hey, we are also meet to Arena, who's getting
yes.
bullied by
2 random folks.
2 random thugs who just have the creepiest of faces.
Well, that's how you know that they're thugs. Because
Yeah.
all ugly people in anime
Are British.
are awful thugs.
Oh, but
Are British? No!
no!
It had to be
No.
said. I'm sorry. But yeah, no. Most of the evil people are ugly, aside from Dio, who is fabulous, especially in the manga.
That's how you know that he's the main
Well-
villain. All of like the lackeys and thugs
God.
are the ugly bastards of anime, but the main villain is always the most fabulous thing that you've ever seen. Always.
In fairness, before Jack, this is way later on, but I also like Jack the Ripper's design before, he.
He came out of the horse.
Well, yeah. Okay, so we have this very quick introduction to Erina, and it's more of Jonathan being like, "I'm going to be a real gentleman." No, what does he say in the anime? Because I feel like it's different from the manga. He just says, "True gentleman," right?
Yeah,
And then the
yeah. He
manga
just says, I want to be a true gentleman.
Yeah, and then in the
But
manga,
pretty
is-
much he yelled at him, it's like, "Don't pity me, because I did this to just be a gentleman, nothing else."
Baka.
and
He
then
went
in,
super Sundari on that.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did.
and then in the manga, he's like, "I want to be a squire," and that kind of like, because that's like the second. That's the
Yeah.
thing right before being a knight.
Yeah, yeah.
So like to do that, you have to start training since you're 7. So if like that also kind of explains why you'd be interested in boxing and anyways, like
Yeah.
regardless. So I'm like thinking the sword would make more sense as well, and blah blah blah.
That would make a lot more sense in context.
Definitely.
And then after the arena, I think that's when the boxing match happens, right?
No, Jonathan is like chilling, and then he's like, "Yo, come over here, smoke a pipe with us." And then the lad's like, "Yo,
I
he's
think
a
that was-
snitch."
No, the boxing match happens before that.
Does it?
Yes.
I swear
because Dio tells people he's a snitch after the boxing match.
Oh,
Hmm.
well, alrighty then. Yeah, it is. Sorry, I was taking screenshots of the manga as I go, as like a kind of a cliff notes, and I think I took one too far apart, and I missed that.
But yeah, the boxing match happens, and once again we see Dio be a dick for no reason, and this gouges his eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, that like, first of all, second unnecessary hit. Everyone already knew that he lost, and then the eye gouge, and he announces that it's an eye gouge.
And
Okay,
then you're so...
I want to bring this up now because we're getting into this particular bit. People explain the fuck out of what's already going on, of what we're seeing. And
Yeah,
that in the early
it's
JoJo...
so bad.
Oh,
It's so bad.
it's so
Like,
annoying.
honestly-
I didn't realize it until like my second or third watch through the JoJo anime, but like...
to be honest, I didn't even see that as much of a problem in the manga until a certain character appeared. But before then, no one else was really doing it.
Well, in the book and stuff, it's kind of more understandable in a book sense.
Yes.
Because
But they
with-
adapt
with-
that a little
with books,
too
you
faithfully
don't
in that
see the
case.
movement.
Exactly. You
In
see
the
everything
anime,
happen.
You see the things happen. You don't have somebody to tell you what's happening. Well, in a manga, you may not get the translation of movements, so that's why they talk so much.
Which
Oh,
is
I
more
know that.
baffling by the fact that this particular part is so short, and yet they seem to pad it by over narrating everything. It's paradoxical.
And it just gets worse as soon as Speedwagon comes along.
Oh,
Like, I
yes,
love
he does.
Speedwagon, but
Speedwagon
oh God,
yes.
A lot of things change when Speedwagon comes along.
except in the movie.
Yeah, because
how?
he wrote it. He wrote it and directed, so he couldn't be in it. He was like, I have too many roles in the movie. I can't.
Ah, there you go. We see it all. He's
It
humbly.
was funded by the Speedwagon Foundation.
But this fight scene brings up a good point. This is where you start noticing them having to explain every little detail that we are seeing.
Which becomes really annoying really quickly if you
And when
focus
people
on
found
it.
out he counts, when people realize Dio pretty much on purpose cut this, why
Like-
are people such dicks going, that's so great?
I don't know. Maybe they're not used to seeing blood, and they're like,
You know
"Holy
what it-
crap, that's
You know what it
cool."
reminds me of? It reminds me of how easily the general public was swayed in that Japanese soap opera Hana Yori Dango.
Oh God, I love that.
Fuck, that
Oh,
was that was
Oh,
so
that was
good.
so great.
That was so good. But it kind of reminded
Dio
me
is
of that.
insane.
Then sometime we have to hook you up with
Oh
that.
yes, we
Oh,
do.
yeah.
That is
Oh,
a
yeah,
must.
I need to see that.
We when we were your age, we
That's how we
Oh,
learn
God.
Japanese.
Oh, God.
yeah.
But let's go back to JoJo.
Mhm.
Imagine going off tangents on JoJo. That's insane.
Oh my gosh.
Well, part one, I don't know if this is going to be a long video because part one kind of goes by fast.
Isn't a long part. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
In
like long at the
comparison.
start, and then it's like an exponential graph, where like it goes faster, 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 faster. Yeah, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
But after he got beaten up, that's when he tries to talk to people, and people to the very boys he puts away as well, plus one random other kid, and he's like, "Hey guys!" And the two boys who already beat him up is like, "He's a snitch." I don't know why
Yeah.
Jonathan was so offended of people he already picked fights with.
I don't know. I think he's just like, hey, I want friends.
He's
Fuck
well,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
He wants to be
One-
good no matter what, and
He wants
It
to be
bites
good
him
and
in
he
the-
offers people to smoke.
Yeah.
Like, come on, parents, sneak and smoke.
It bites him in the
I
ass more often than not.
I think that happens in the manga. They did not even mention smoking
Yeah.
in the anime.
Yeah, no, he's in the tree. He's like, hey, come on over. It's even more weird because he's offering them. He's like, hey, do you want to smoke? He's like, he's gonna snitch on us
So
as
wait,
he's smoking himself.
he's offering to smoke. He's going to snitch on us on something he's already doing.
Yes, because
Mm-hmm.
it makes perfect sense. Although there is one thing I will give the manga. I don't know if they did this in the anime, but while that's happening, you can see Dio talking to George about the mask. Like just little hints that he's interested in it more than anything else before the fight.
Damn it! That would be a cool thing to actually put in the anime rather than explaining how a punch works.
Yeah.
So, and then while
It's
they're
not
like,
as bad as people die when they're killed, but it feels like it gets to that level a few times.
yeah.
It does kind of get there.
So while they're jeering him, it's like, oh, I bet he doesn't even know what Dio did. Go on, tell him what Dio did. He's like, yeah, Dio kissed Erina. By the way, Dio
wait,
kissed
we didn't
Erina.
even get to that part yet. Because Jonathan, then Ellen goes to Jonathan, gives back his handkerchief, and they start a little friendship, which I think is once again expanded upon in the manga.
Yeah, you see them going out for like a
Yeah.
swim and then like just walks together and stuff. And Dio's trailing behind. He's like, this can't go on. What the fuck is this? No, not happening. You can't have friends or loved ones. Nah.
And then Dio steals a kiss. And I kind of want to talk about this because this kind of shows a little awesomeness on Ellen's part. Because as soon as that happens, she goes to a dirty puddle to wash out her mouth rather than a stream to just show disrespect directly to Dio.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows Dio's true weakness for the first time is his pride.
Exactly.
Like, if the first person to actually kind of defeat Dio in a way was not Jonathan, it was Ellen. The girl he violated was able to hurt him enough for him to break his composure.
Yeah. And then he just pimp smacked her. Like, full on Flavor Flav. Just. I'm describing it a bit too much, but you get the idea.
I
He
get
was
what you're
not
saying.
happy.
But it kind because I feel like Ellen is generally plus aside, but I do think bringing that to attention is necessary because it kind of shows.
She has her moments.
Oh yeah,
She's
Like-
3 moments in particular in the show.
but I feel like that's just a big one to bring up because we never
Yeah.
see Dio lose his cool till that point.
So after this, Jonathan finds out, and
Oh
then
yeah, because Ellen refuses because it's like what the 1920s and
1880s, actually.
1880s, and
Yeah.
she sees herself as impure now, and she does not want to insult Jonathan.
Wasn't she also
And
being
then-
like blackmailed to stay away from Jojo?
Was it blackmail?
nah, not even. It was just more like it was sort of blackmail, but it was more like kind of guilt. Like Dio didn't actually do anything aside from the kiss, but he was thinking in his head, now that I've done that, they'll be too awkward to talk to each other. And then
Oh,
they'll
I
just-
see.
And the boys once again worship Dio for this.
Oh, yo, tell him what it's Erina. Oh, what Dio do to Erina? What did Dio do?
Hey,
Mm-hmm.
hey, he violated this lady. He's awesome.
I
What?
feel like they said worse things than what actually happened.
Probably.
Judging by Jonathan's, like, obviously Jonathan's reaction was justified, even in what happened. Because right after he kissed Erina, that's when Danny got, toasty.
Yeah, we already brought up the Danny thing.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
when Danny got toasty. You'd think that would be the moment he'd snap, but no, it's when he hears about Erina being kissed.
Well, we're
Then-
never really told what was said.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
could have been loads of things. And he bursts through the door. and I think I actually took a screenshot of it, but I remember people talking about an ongoing thing in the manga where like a character will have what's called murder eyes, where a character will just want to kill someone, and like it only happens once in this part, and this is Jonathan now. He's going in with the intent not to kill Dio, but as he says himself, I'm going to beat you until you cry. And that's
And he does in round one. So
Goes-
Jonathan versus Dio. Jonathan clearly beats the shit out of Dio finally.
Indeed.
In the anime, it does not feel as old as it does in the manga because this is still the first episode.
Yes.
But in the manga, this was building up. You have all these awful things were happening chapter after chapter, and finally
Yeah.
somebody punches this guy in the face.
and
Well,
the
you
best
know-
thing is
Fun fact, this is actually more considered round 2, considering that boxing match. Just saying.
Oh yeah, round
So-
two.
round 205.
So Jonathan, like, at this point, he knows what Dio can do, and he tries
And he
to...
still doesn't care.
Yeah. And he just fucking goes for it at this point.
Pretty much he has no more fucks to give, beats the shit out of him, and then gets grounded.
Yeah, that was.
Mm-hmm.
And George is like, yeah, a fight between men, that tends to happen. But you came up on poor old defenseless Dio.
Can
Like-
you imagine how shitty of a parent George is, kinda?
George
George is very shitty of a parent.
He's not
Like,
like.
the madness thing, I understand, but it seems like every opportunity he kind of sits on Jonathan.
And he admits that, though.
Admitting
no,
it doesn't
doesn't-
make it good.
Well, yeah. No, there's nothing more to add. Don't be a shit dad to your kids.
Exactly.
Or else they will get sunlight powers and burn down your house.
One will become a vampire, and the other will have to kill him.
Now, here is the thing that I don't understand, right? Because I believe after this is the 7-year time skip. Right?
It's a zoning when it's...
Yeah, but here's the thing. I don't believe Dio being an absolute asshole for like a few months straight, and then being a perfect child for 7 years, just to be a dick again.
It seems weird, doesn't it? We
That's
don't really
so
get much of an
stupid.
explanation.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, it's been 7 years, and he's calling my dad instead of Mr. Joestar. Has he really changed? I don't trust him, and he only ever mentions the stuff that we've seen. So that leads me to believe nothing else happened since then.
You would have to think because of how little they show.
Well, and considering like how Jonathan like gets along with him in that rugby game.
Yeah, they're like
Once again,
high-fiving and
explaining
stuff.
every little detail.
Yeah, well, yes.
Oh, one person jumped on Jonathan Joestar. 2 people. 3 people.
Hey, still not going down.
And the thing is, there's like, 3 people jumping on this 195 centimeter man. Like, okay, cool. Thanks for the info. I really needed to know that.
But what might have been more effective is if they did like a short montage of small things that happened throughout the years.
Maybe that's what they were doing in the movie that got cancelled.
Like,
Like the needle and the other thing that was added, the stepping on his neck or whatever. Maybe that wasn't in. Maybe that was like in between.
Maybe, but I feel like you should have had like a few small 2-second scenes
Mm.
just going throughout the years.
We're gonna need a montage.
Or when he says Dio hasn't been bad, there's something off of him, and then so like a few small things of Dio just being cold.
Yeah. Like, literally, he's like, okay, everything's fine. Yo, he's acting nice recently. It's been 7 years since he's done something. Obviously, Dio didn't change because Araki was new to writing. Well, he wasn't even new to writing. He wrote manga before then, but, like, he still wasn't in his stride yet.
mm-hmm.
So I can understand a few slip-ups here and there, but, like, I'm surprised he even thought Like, oh yeah, he'll calm down for 7 years and then spark back up again.
By the way, one of the weirdest parts of the anime episode 2 was it starts off with a monologue about Jack the Ripper, and then it goes to the rugby game.
Hey, yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point. It does start with the frickin' Jack the Ripper monologue. It's like,
I
okay,
thought that was pretty cool. It wasn't even like a big monologue. It was just like a little thing.
It just feels so random that they're like, Jack the Ripper,
By the
but
way-
anyway.
by the way, Jack the Ripper exists now. And then they go back to, it's like, well, wait, what?
Rugby.
What's going on? What, are
We're not
they-
even in London. What are you on about?
Yeah.
But, like, it felt like a
London.
really random thing to bring up.
Well, that's a lot of JoJo at this point as well. It's a random
But
thing to
there's
bring
no
up.
structure yet, to be fair.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
That
After the
rugby game was trash as well.
Yeah, it was. Oh, he got a try, and then they won.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't-
yeah.
I
Well,
don't
yeah.
know much about rugby, but I don't think that's how rugby quite works.
No, because when you run
No.
to the end, you score a try, and that's worth 5 points. And then after that, you're supposed
Yeah.
to take a kick, which is worth an extra 3 in the goal or 1 above
Yeah.
the goal.
Having sisters that both play rugby, I can attest. Yes, they missed a couple steps in there.
A couple, yeah.
The-
Even though it's an
Damn it,
English sport,
Damn it,
Irish is-
Jojo, you failed as a sports anime.
Ah,
Damn it!
I mean, they
This
tried
was-
so many things.
this was
Hajime
supposed to
no
be the next.
Jojo,
Yeah.
rugby,
Boxing.
dancing.
Come on,
right
guys. We were so close to Joe Q.
around. Slam Dio. So
And the real thing about this narration as well, like the sports announcers, like, that's Jonathan Joseph. He's going to become an archaeologist.
thank you for that useless
Yeah.
information.
Right?
That's never brought up ever. Well, it's brought up once, and then it's
Well,
brought up never
when
again.
he's doing research on the mask,
Yeah.
Jonathan does a very brief research on it, and then Gio kind of takes over that later.
Yeah, they never mentioned Dio's thing ever again.
Which, you know, it's kind of funny.
What
Dio
was
actually,
Gio's job plan?
Dio
He gave
aspires
them
to be a lawyer.
Yes.
Imagine a Phoenix Wright JoJo crossover. Objection! No.
Objection! Eddie!
Patrick Sites would do a good objection, I feel.
I think so.
So afterwards, they're like, "Oh, let's run home and tell father that we won our game." And somehow, someone else, a friend from the college, made it up there, despite the fact that these 2 big rugby
Well,
players
people.
ran there.
hmm
Someone else managed to make it there before them, and there was no cameras or anything because it's the 1800s. So like he was there too.
No text messages or anything.
Yeah, he was like in the room, so he managed to make it back before the 2 running rugby players.
That dude was the true, most powerful. He was the true Hamon master all along.
Yeah.
But this is when we get the reveal that George is sick.
Oh no! And he was such a good guy
I
too.
thought everybody was feeling bad about George being sick because George has just been so likable at this point.
Yeah.
At this point, he kind of has a personality change, it feels like.
Well, he's gotten older.
Well, yeah,
So
It-
I feel like it's warranted.
kind of happens, yeah.
It was 7 years.
Well, at this point, too, they've both Jonathan and Dio have probably become a lot more sophisticated in that time, and a lot
Yeah,
more
that all
of
went
a
down the
person that
drain.
George can be proud of. So that makes sense.
What's
George-
kind of ludicrous for me, I don't know if the manga did it differently, is how Jonathan figures out what's happening with his dad. Because he's moving some books around, and then a letter pops out, and he has exact same symptoms as Dio's dad. And it just seems so ludicrous that he found all this stuff at these very moments.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's exactly what happened in the manga as well. Even though he already had suspicions about Dio beforehand, and he went specifically looking for something to either do with the medicine or Dio.
It just seems
Yeah.
so weird that it was so specific.
Why was the letter left there?
Why did Dio keep the letter?
Even if he kept the
wouldn't
letter,
he
why
have-
would he leave it?
Well, yeah, shouldn't he have just like, yeah, why would he
Burn
leave
it?
it in a random book instead of like burning it or something? Like that was
leaving it in
probably
the
more
drawer.
Maybe
commonplace.
for the dog.
But letters, nah. You make a freaking
Like, this really baffles me because this is the only loose thing Jonathan would have ever been able to find to connect Dio.
Well, I'm sure he would have just still accused him in anyways, because like when he finds it, he doesn't outright say you did it. He's like, swear on your father right now that you aren't doing it, and I will believe you. And then he's thinking in his head, he's like, he's too prideful not to. Like, if he doesn't swear, then I know as a matter of fact. And then when Dio's like, hold on, mate, what do you mean swear? Like, swear? Like, I don't understand why Dio was so hesitant. Yeah, he's prideful, but like, he doesn't care about his dad.
Considering, though, this is still the 1880s, people thought a lot differently back then, and people weren't quite as cunning, I assume, or people were less likely to take those things
Lightly.
lightly.
Mm.
'Cause
Yeah, I
that was
can
a big
understand.
deal, probably. I mean, I'm no
Yeah,
historian,
you-
but
Aha.
It just seems a little weird to me, that's all.
Yeah, it was weird in general. So afterwards, he's like, okay, I'm going to go to London now.
I
Bye.
love how Jonathan made this leap that he got this somewhere in London.
Well, in fairness, he got that because, they lived in London when Dio's dad died, and he's dying from the same thing, so he
That's
assumed
what
it's in
happened?
London. Yeah.
I didn't remember that being. So
Well-
once again, this is when the story kind of splits off for a while, following two different main characters in the
Yeah.
manga.
And, well, in the anime as well, it's just a
Oh,
bit
yeah.
shorter on Dio's side.
Much
Yeah.
shorter because I feel like the manga did the deal side so much better when we get to that.
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
So Jonathan arrives at Ogre Street. And
Yes. The
he's
roughest,
jumped-
toughest place
in
in
London.
yeah. Like
Because it's so scary.
Hey, do you want to describe what happens at Ogre Street, Sad?
well, yes. Oh my gosh. Well, first off, we get the we know it's a rough and tough place, full of the dregs of humanity, because Jonathan sees a cat swoop by, and it's eating a dog.
Oh God!
This really is the toughest place in London.
yeah.
How could we have been so blind?
That was such a... I almost have to say hilarious way of making this place seem more intimidating.
right?
Yeah.
Like that's how it is. Like, that's how you know that you walked into the wrong neighborhood, kid.
But what you don't know is that Cat is the main villain of a part eventually. Because he killed a dog!
Oh.
Dun, dun.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's we're gonna have a death counter for dogs. We're at 2 now.
Oh yes. Speaking of walking into the wrong neighborhood, and then some lovely gentlemen come by and say that he has walked into the wrong neighborhood.
Specifically those words exactly.
Yeah, it was beautifully weird.
So they go and stab him, but he catches the knife.
He catches the knife. Jonathan puts these fools in their place.
And then,
But
like
then
a true
The
gentleman.
leader of these folks.
Well, before we go by these fools, they actually have names because they were in the game, remember?
I thought one
The
of them.
The one with the tattoo on his face is named Tattoo.
Oh.
Ah.
And the other one, just a second.
Stabby Steve.
I believe in the game. I believe in Eyes of Heaven, they just called him the Asian.
Yes, because there's only one Asian in JoJo's movie.
He's called Temple Fighter.
Oh god.
I'm not joking. The game has every character in the PS2 game is playable, and it's like Campo Fighter.
Oh my
Jeez.
gosh.
I just want to say, with the next character showing up, I noticed literally as soon as he was introduced, the art quality in the manga shot way up. Like not even like a little bit, like way up. Specifically with Dio. Like before he had like some weird black hair and his face was like different all the time, and then afterwards, next time you see Dio, he looks so much cooler and like a lot more closer to like the anime design a bit.
But I
Man,
think
this
he
dude really does
slowly-
make everything everything better.
I will show you a before and after clip, but I won't show the actual video because one is from a scene that is not here yet. So the first one I'm going to send is one from before,
Okay.
early
Okay.
on. The second one is from the same volume, but before Speedwagon is introduced. And then the
Okay.
last one is with a scene after Speedwagon is introduced. If I can find it, it's this one and this one. So the last two are with Speedwagon after introducing him. The
Oh,
top one is
God.
before
Oh,
Speedwagon, and the middle one is same volume before.
Whoa.
Oh God.
Told you, he looks so much cooler after Speedwagon is introduced.
Well, I think that was when the author started to get his own style.
Yeah,
Because I'm going to bring up the elephant in the room. The early manga clearly was copying a lot of things from Fist of the North Star.
oh, I thought
Like,
it was
look
Rugrats.
at Jonathan's original design in the manga, he was Kensuo.
I think I took. You see that most in a fight later on, but yeah, you'll see a picture of him and you'll know he looks like Kenshiro. I'll put up a side by side or whatever.
But he takes down these first two guys with ease, and then somebody has a tip with his hat, right, Zad?
Well, you could say he tips his hat to him. Yes, indeed. Oh gosh. That
I feel like this did not translate well at all in the anime. Because the hat attack looks so awkward.
well,
Yeah.
that hat has a frickin' mind of its own though. That is the power of Speedwagon
that he only
That
that he
uses.
only uses
Slowly
once.
Yep, and a character that solely won't matter at all.
Never.
No, of course not. He's just a thug boss.
He's just
It's
a foundation.
just a
and
stepping
maybe
stone.
somebody.
Yeah. He just works
But-
as the foundation for Jonathan's rise to the top. Yeah?
But the hat thing is only used once.
And then he abandons
Yeah.
the hat.
Yeah. And then he
Yeah.
doesn't really he doesn't use the hat.
It's not even that he doesn't use the hat. He just doesn't bring the hat anywhere anymore.
Well,
I think
yeah.
he brought it to the mansion, and then that's it. He just
Maybe.
abandoned.
Ooh, here's some deep lore. Here's a deep lore theory.
Okay.
Maybe when Speedwagon's maybe the reason the Speedwagon didn't use that hat anymore is because when that hat dug into Jonathan's flesh and it hit Jonathan's bones were so strong that they broke the blades.
Drink your milk, kids.
I also love how Speedwagon is like, it went for his bones and he's still good. How
Yeah.
did you know it went for his bones?
Oh my god. I must protect this man. He is a true gentleman.
Yeah.
Well, the reason he says that is because after the assault, he never killed anyone. He just defended himself.
Yes. The thing is
Like,
it was a very sudden face turn.
well, it kind of shows the goodness in Jonathan's heart.
Oh
Something
yeah.
that they try to work with at all times.
Yeah, but going from I'm going to rob you to I'm going to stalk you not because I still want to rob you, but because I'm your best friend. Like, this is a bit of a jump.
Well, I think so. A reason Jonathan would accept that is he never had really a good friend other than at best Dio.
Yeah.
So
And-
when somebody jumps at his friendship, maybe, and I'm probably getting way too deep in here, he finally found somebody who's willing to be friends for him rather than somebody else around him.
That's
Mm-hmm.
a pretty deep thought.
Yeah.
That's a meat endgame level thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can.
I don't feel stunned, but I think that at this point, Jonathan didn't have any friends, and it's the first time somebody stood up for him. Like, as soon as those guys were about, the mob was about to pretty much bum rush him after being a Speedwagon, Speedwagon stood up to him. Nobody has ever stood up for Jonathan except Danny, which was a dog.
Yeah.
And
So Speedwagon
no, yeah, just
makes an
Danny.
integral part, I guess, in Jonathan's growth is in that regard,
Yeah.
I guess.
Like, the thing is, my problem wasn't with Jonathan accepting him. I can completely understand that. It's more Speedwagon going from one extreme to the other in the space of 2 panels.
Was it really just 2 panels?
It was pretty much he threw the thing. It's like, blade hit bone. Haha. Next panel, he's like laughing or whatever. Panel after that, he's like, leave him alone. He did this. Like, legit, like maybe a page or 2. And it was just like that. I respect this man.
And this is
And
what
dude-
I'm what I'm talking about though in the about like a different mindset back in the 1880s. Particularly because like in the fact that honor held a huge place back then, and Jonathan not harming these folks despite the fact that they were out to kill him. Like,
Yeah.
that touched a gentleman like Speedwagon in a way that probably you wouldn't see ever again, really. Like, nobody really
suppose
joins
it was-
because they hold back anymore.
Mm.
Like, if anything, it would just go harder, like, in later times. But at this point, it's like, man, the fact that you could have fucking killed me and you didn't, like,
Yeah. And I suppose Jonathan's explanation does help too. He's like,
Yeah.
I'm here to save my dad. I
And you-
assume you have family as well. So I
Exactly.
don't think they'd like it if I
Well,
smashed
that's
your
it.
face in.
so, like, that's a
And-
very interesting bit there.
Now, I'm going to get to a point that actually really disappointed me in the anime. We get the deal side of things with the mask.
Oh, yes.
And this feels very glossed over.
Yeah, it's like a few seconds, like maybe a minute in the anime. When it's
In
like,
the anime, I think it was like 4 minutes of a scene. But I
Yeah.
think the manga had like a chapter to dedicate to this part.
it had the exact same amount of time as the other, like as Jonathan as well. It was like going on side by side, pretty much.
Yeah. And the thing is, we see this is one of the parts that really characterizes Dio.
Yeah, because he's like, he
He-
goes,
He's going down a downward spiral.
and he's just trying to figure out any single way. Why did he go down to Ogre Street though? Or to
Dio?
London?
Probably
yeah.
to get more medicine.
Probably get more medicine, or maybe try to clean his tracks, but as soon as he heard he went towards Ogre Street, he just kind of decided to get crunked.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then he was like, yo, let me test this cool mask real quick. So Jonathan was like, I might have special abilities. I don't think so. It's just spiky. And then he almost died.
In a pretty intense scene, honestly, in the manga.
Yeah, like, he gets really close. He actually inserts his fingers into Dio.
Oh.
And, like,
But it happens in anime as well, but it happens much faster.
Yeah.
Well, in the manga, Dio is fighting with everything he can to get away from this vampire.
that he
No
doesn't
amount
even
of
know is a
street
vampire.
smarts will save him from a vampire, and he has to.
From-
But that's also still an integral part of Dio kind of learning how to deal with
Vampires.
vampires, which is
Become them.
yeah. Fact,
So-
but he uses that to his advantage eventually.
And the sun comes out, vampire's dead. Dio's like, I guess I'll go home now. That was a cool trip.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
whatever I was doing, fuck it. I'm just gonna go home.
And then he does.
So random. It was so random.
Yeah, it was like that Thomas the Tank Engine meme. Dio, it was time for Dio to leave. He had seen enough.
I've seen enough. I'm satisfied.
Yeah. I forgot that was a meme in itself.
But the episode ended pretty solidly with the confrontation ready to start.
Mm-hmm.
Not the best ending of that. We'll get to that one. But the music chimed in perfectly, and the ending theme is a great chime in when something epic's going to happen.
Roundabout is a fucking god tier ending. People always talk about the JoJo openings being fantastic, but they never really talk about the JoJo endings.
Because we've already sung their praises too much.
Well, you know, and what you find interesting is that if you listen to these songs, like they're actual like classic prog rock songs and the like by people in like the 60s, 70s, what have you.
Yeah.
And people, like, if you look at the YouTube comments of these, you'll see two kinds of people. You'll see the people who are like, oh man, I remember listening to this song back in the day. It was frickin' great. And then you have the people who are like, you expected a YouTube comment, but it was Dio.
To be honest, the only comments I ever see is either JoJo fans or people complaining about that there's so many JoJo fans. I don't even see people actually enjoying the song anymore.
Seriously? I see a lot of those. And people...
The only one I actually see comments for people enjoying for was the very last one, which is Modern Crusaders.
Oh, shit, I love that one.
That's my favorite ending. But I think Roundabout is the best anime ending of all time, and I think that is provable due to the fact of how big it became. It became bigger than JoJo for a while. The to be continued.
Well, that meme
the
transcended
guitar
reality.
to be continued. This feels so right because it pumps you up, and the thing that is really good about it is they don't do it every episode.
Exactly.
They're doing it when they're building up. They're not doing it at the end of every episode where something random's happening. It's like no, it's like, hey, Jonathan and Dio are now in a room with Jonathan knowing about the poison now. Should we talk about the opening real quick?
What's that?
So we talk about the opening because we didn't really talk about the opening.
Oh, shit. Yeah, that's a good point.
I didn't bring up the opening because the first episode didn't show it.
Yeah,
And then
but
we
like...
Yeah, I
But-
remember watching it, and I was like, "Where's the opening?" Because like I listened to the openings before I ever watched the show.
Oh, seriously?
Before I even had any intention of watching the show, I was like, "Yo, these slap."
Well, yeah, like, and that's a huge thing. The opening, especially, like, the opening for part 1 is so fucking epic, and it gets you hyped as fuck. More so than just about any other opening that I've seen.
Sono Chino Sadame by Tommy.
By Tommy. And you know, that particular... keep an eye out for these... for the names of the people who made these, because I'm gonna come up with some trivia in the later episodes.
Ooh,
Oh,
okay.
boy.
So,
We
yeah.
have no format, yet sad is making one all along. Hey, it's a
back-
roundabout.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God. Yeah, back to the shoujo.
Well, this is going to be part 1 of 3. I hope you enjoyed, and now, ad time. Alright then, if you're looking for some really dope looking clothes, or accessories or whatever, Nezu Clothing is the place to go. It's a completely Irish-owned brand with minimalist designs, right? Recently they just came out with a dragon pinion print hoodie. So it comes in pink, grey, black and white. The design features a minimalist pinion symbol for dragon, long in Chinese, encased in a red circle on the front, as well as a super dope looking dragon on the back. But also that they got coffee mugs, they got other stuff. One of my favorite things to come out was the bonsai brushstroke kanji sweatshirt. Comes out, and I think it's just white for now, but it's got a nice big text in kanji with a nice little design in the middle. One of my personal favorites. Not to mention there's also mugs and phone case you can get, you know, themed around like, I don't know, cutesy pandas or boba tea or whatever. Trust me, it is worth it. You should check them out. Their Instagram will be the top link in the description, and right under that there will be the shop. Or you could just look it up yourself at teespring.com/stores/Nezu clothing. Like I said, I love these designs. There's a bunch of stickers and stuff as well. They're all really good and high quality as well. So I want to thank them again for supporting the show, and thank you for watching. Please check them out.